Hello everyone, I am Tejashree Agre. I am here to present Waterfall Model and Agile Model. I am going to discuss points like how you will scale up your products in 1 year with strategy. Example, Facebook app. And second one is list of departments we need in our company and how they work. So, here in the waterfall model, you are having different phases. First one is requirement analysis, second one is system design, third one is implementation, fourth, testing, fifth, deployment, and last one is maintenance. So, the waterfall model, this is the first software development lifecycle model to be used widely in software ensuring to ensure success of the projects. So almost all software engines are used this waterfall model. So in the approach, the whole process of software development is divided into separate phases. Suppose if any process is there, if any product is there, if any problem is there, that problem is divided into series of different phases. Here the outcomes of one phase act as input to the other phase. The outcome of requirement analysis act to the input outcomes of require system design. Input to the implementation outcomes of implementation is input testing. To the input testing, testing is deployment outcome of develop. Deployment is maintenance, and it is input to the maintenance. This is outcomes of one phase act as input for the next phase. That should be in sequential. If one phase is completed, then only you go for the next phase. Without the completion of first phase, you are not supposed to go for the next phase. Like that, we have to follow it. So that's why we called it as a waterfall model. Now, first, see the requirements analysis. What do you mean by requirements analysis? So, here the requirements gathered and documented in requirement specification documents. So, whatever the user requirements, so you are giving some specification and ideas to the team people. That is called as a requirement analysis. After that, system design. The system design helps in specifying hardware and the system requirements and also defining overall system architecture. Means what type of hardware we have to use and what are requirements that our system requires that we need, and also defining overall system architecture to develop a complete system whatever they need, that you called as a system design. Next, they go for the implementation. In implementation, with input from system design, so whatever the input that we are taken from the system design, the system is developed in small programs called units. So here we are implementing the programs into small units. So here each unit is tested for its functionality and it's referred as a unit testing. Now we are going to see integration and testing. It is every unit small programs are tested and it is successful. So that we'll be checking in this testing. After that, delivery and deployment. Deployment is nothing but once the functional and non-functional testing is done, then we are ready to deliver the product to the customer environment or you directly releasing into market. That stage you called it as a deployment. If any issue comes up from the client environment, you have to fix those problems, and also if they want any enhancement to the product, you have to add that and you have to release it again. That stage you call it as a maintenance. Maintenance stage will be occurred and in the customer environment only. So these are different stages in waterfall model. Now let us see advantages and disadvantages of waterfall model. Advantages. First thing, it is simple and easy to understand and use. Second, next, it is easy to manage. Third, phases or proceeds and completed one at a time. Next, here the requirements are very well understood. And last one is clearly defined stages. Let us see the disadvantages. In this model, no working software produced until late during the life cycle. That is one. And high amount of risk and uncertainty will be there in waterfall model. And it is not a good model for complex and object oriented programs. This is a poor model for very large and ongoing projects. So that's it for the waterfall model. Now we are going to see agile model in details. If we talk about agile model is one of the best model that is suitable for today's software development because it is based on one main keyword, that is customer satisfaction. Okay, first try to understand how actually it works on the ideas of interactive and incremental model. In Agile, we are not creating software in a very long period, whereas you will be doing in it multiple sprints. You will start off with 4 phases like planning, implementing, testing, and reviewing. Now we will create one of the component of the software, and once you are done with that, you will move on the create the next component, and similarly you will go ahead and create the software as a whole. Now in this manner you are completing the software as well as providing the different components of the software to the customer, getting her feedback and changing accordingly. Considering in all of these factors, agile ability to change and adapt with the market, satisfy the market needs and do so in a very short terms. You know, all of these factors combined makes agile very suitable for developing software for this. Now we are going to see implementation of agile methodology. First plan it out, then design it, then develop it, then test it, then deploy it, then review it from our own feedback, from the customer's feedback to another client's feedback, then launch it. It is called as a agile methodology, but in actuality it's rather a set of values and principles. If you are use these values and principles to make decision, then you are working in an agile manner. Now go ahead and discuss those values. So they come under Agile Manifesto. So the Agile Manifesto basically states that we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it through this work. Values in Agile model. There are few values. Left side values have such more meaning than the right side values. First, individual and interaction over processes and tools. Second, working software over comprehensive documentation. Third, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And the final value of agile products is responding to change more than following a plan because agile is suited for ever changing market. Now, let us discuss the principles that agile promotes. So we have the first principle that says our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. The second principle states that welcome changing requirements even late in development as our processes harness change for customers' competitive advantages. Then the third principle says that deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with preference to shorter time scale. Then the fourth principle states that business people and developers must work daily throughout the projects. And the fifth principle states that build project around motivated individuals given the environments and support their needs, and trust them to get the job done. Next principle states that the most efficient, effective method of conveying information to and within the development team is face to face conversation. Next principle states that working software is the primary measure of progress. Then agile processes promotes sustainable development. The sponsor developers and users should be able to maintain a constant pace identified. And ninth principle says that continuous attention to the technical excellence and good design enhance agility. And then simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. And second last principle states that the best architecture requirements and design emerge from self-organizing teams. And final principle basically tell us that at regular intervals the teams reflect on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjust its behavior accordingly. So, these are different principles of agile promotes. Now, remember, if you want to be in agile teams, then you have to make of all of your decision based on this principle and based on the values that agile promotes. Otherwise, you are not an agile team. Benefits. Now, let us look at different benefits that agile provides us. So the first benefit is basically transparency. Now this pretty clear by the idea of transparency itself. If you are transparent in your development process, then the customer or the client knows what you are doing. They have more trust in you because you will be telling them what you are doing, and you will be doing this as you will be providing them software every other sprints. They will know what kind of software they are getting, and accordingly they provides you a feedback and you will be improve upon the next interaction. By using that feedback in your planning stage, then comes predictable cost schedule. You now since as agile promotes very short term development life cycle, the number of variables that will be there when you are calculating the cost and schedule will be less, and hence you will be able to predict the cost and schedule. Now another benefit or primary benefit is that it allows for change. Now the values and principles that agile tells us about basically promotes for change, because if you are able to adapt and change accordingly to the market, then you are able to increase your business profits as well as satiate the market needs, or as well as satisfy your customer or clients. And then in the end it helps us to improve the quality of the product overall, not just the polishing aspects. You increase the morale of your employees, you increase the morale of your team. So with these benefits of agile, I will choose agile methodology because waterfall model promotes a very long-term development life cycle, and it was used to develop monolithic application instead of the microservice we have these days. And this is with the issue starts to develop. As you can see, with waterfall model you need a very long time to develop a particular software. These days this is not feasible as the demand for software is crazy high, and we need to able to change accordingly to the market needs. And you know develop software every other month or so, and because of this issue our new particular software methodology is agile. Now we are going to see how will you scale up your product. I often encounter people experiencing frustration as they attempt to scale their e-commerce or WordPress site or any application, particularly around the cost and complexity related to scaling. When I talk to customers about their scaling plans, they often mention phrases such as horizontal scaling and microservices. But usually, people aren't sure about how to divine in and effectively scale their sites. Now, let's talk about different scaling options. For instance, if your current workload is in traditional data center, you can leverage the cloud for your on-premises solution. This way, you can scale to achieve greater efficiency with less cost. It's not necessary to set up a whole powerhouse to light a few bulbs. If your workload is already in the cloud, you can use one of these available out of the box options. Designing your APIs is microservices and adding horizontal scaling might seem like the best choice unless your application is already running in an on-premises environment and you will need to quickly scale it because of unexpected large spikes in web traffic. So, how to handle this situation? Take things one step at a time when scaling, and you may find horizontal scaling isn't the right choice after all. For example, we have assumed you have a Facebook app where you did an early look review of upcoming and highly anticipated smartphones launch, which went viral. The review, a blog post on your Facebook app, or one of the posts of our celebrity includes both videos and pictures. Comments are unable for the post and readers can also rate it. For example, if your Facebook app is hosted on a traditional Linux with LAMP stack, you may find yourself with immediate scaling problems. Let's get more details on the current scenario and dig out more. Where, where are images and videos stored? How many read or write requests are received per second, per minute? What is the level of security required? Are these synchronous or asynchronous requests? We will also want to consider the following if your website has a traditional load like e-commerce or banking. How is the web application or a Facebook handling sessions? Do you have any compliance requests like the payment card, industry data security standards? If your application is using its own payment gateway, how are you recording customer behavior data and fulfilling your analytics needs? What are your loading balancing consideration like scaling, catching, session maintenance, etc. So, if we take this one step at a time, the step one is server load. We need to quickly handle spikes in a traffic generated by activity on the post. So let's reduce the server load by moving image and videos to some third party content delivery network. AWS provides as a CDN solution, which is highly scalable with built-in security to verify origin access identity and handle any DDoS attacks. CloudFront can directly traffic to your one premises or a cloud-hosted server with its 113 points of presence in 56 cities across 24 countries, which provides efficient caching. Second step is reduce read load by adding more read replies. MySQL provides a nice mirror replication for database. Oracle has its own Oracle plug for replication, and AWS RDS provides up to 5 read replies, which can span across the region and even the Amazon database. Amazon Aurora can have 15 read replicas with Amazon Aurora auto scaling supports. I recommended that you always use a read replicas for any reporting needs and try to move non-critical get services to read replicas and reduce the load on the master database. In this case, loading comments associated with a post can be fetched from a read replicas as it can handle some delay in case there is any issue with asynchronous reflection. The third step is reduce write request. This can be achieved by introducing queues to process the asynchronous message. Amazon, Amazon's simple queue service is highly scalable queues, which can handle any kind of work message load. You can process data like rating and review or calculate a deal quality score using batch processing Viva and SQS queues. Step 4 is introduce a more robust caching engine. Memcache and Redias have different use cases, so if you can afford to load and recover your cache from your database, use Memcached. If you are looking for a robust data persistence and complex data structure, use Redias. Step 5 is scale your server. If there are still issues, it's time to scale your server for the greatest cost effectiveness and unlimited scalability. I suggest always using horizontal scaling. However, use cases like database vertical scaling may be better choice until you are good with sharding. If your server is an on-premises, consider creating a multi-site architecture which will you help achieve quick scalability as required as provide a good disaster recovery solution. In this architecture, you can run your regular workload on premises. If you decide to move all of your workloads to AWS or any other platform like this, the recommended multi-AZ architecture would look like the following. This is architecture you are until a multi-AZ distributed workload for high availability. You can have a multi-region setup and use Route 53 to distribute your workload between AWS region or any other platforms. This is high level strategy to help you think through the scalability of your workload by using the great platform even if your workload in one premises and not in the cloud. 8. List of all departments in our company and how they will work. When you are looking at how to build a mobile app development or a Facebook app, you first should define the specialist you need and how many as the size of app development or Facebook development team depends on the complexity and scale of our project. Let's start with the basic number of specialists required for developing our Facebook app. First, we required one project manager, then or a product manager. Then we require one UI or UX designer. Then we need one iOS developer or one Android developer. Then we need one backend developer. Then we need one quality assured developer. Why we need project manager or product manager? When you came to a mobile app development or a Facebook app development company with your app idea, you will be assigned a project manager to be your assistant and you link to developers. A project manager takes responsibility for a project from start to finish within the agreed budget, time, and quality. Product manager is often mistakenly used as a synonym for project manager. But while these two specialists are both managers, they carry out different tasks and have different responsibilities. The difference is in what they are managing. A project versus a product. A project is finite with a clear plan of activities and specified starts and end dates. A product needs to generate continuous values for users and has no time limits. A project manager focuses primarily on the performance of the app development process, adherence to deadlines and quality standards based on the product manager's vision. The project manager's responsibility includes handing out assignments to the development team, setting terms for sprints, and prioritizing tasks, estimating your projects and staying within your budgets. building communication between you as the client and developers as contractor, adapting changes to the app development plan, managing risk and issues, and maintaining quality, hitting deadlines, and keeping costs from running out of control. In short, your project manager needs to be a jack of all trades who oversees all app development stages. They should possess the following soft and hard skill: leadership, communication, critical thinking, time management, teamwork, creativity, diplomacy, etc. Then, UI and UX designer. The main task of UI and UX designer is to deliver a satisfied user experience by providing a laconic, intuitive, interesting, and engaging app design. It's the responsibility of UI UX designer to create a user persona. Think over the user flow and sketch up wireframes. Create app prototypes. Build intuitive apps interface. Make changes according to users' feedback and testing data. Based on these responsibilities, you need to hire a UI UX designer with the following skills: expertise working with UI UX design tools like Figma, InVision, and Sketch, and many other things. Up to date knowledge of UI UX research, wireframing, UI prototyping, UX writing, and interaction designing. He also familiar with coding to be on the same page with programmers. Then iOS and Android developers. The iOS and Android operating system use different programming languages and have different requirements. That's why you will need separate developers for each platform. Whatever, you should build your app for one platform or both platform depends on your target audience and your budget. In general, Android and iOS developers are responsible for the technical part of Facebook app development, turning sketches, mockups, and wireframes into high quality codes, creating and maintaining reusable, reliable, and high performance code, providing Facebook app with best quality, performance, and the responsiveness, correcting app drawbacks and fixing bugs. To make the hiring process less tedious, let's dive deeper into skills that highly qualified iOS and Android developers should have. Required skill for iOS developer: mastery of Objective C and Swift to build native apps, knowledge of Xcode IDE, the main development environments for Mac OS, iOS, and iPad's OS apps, a grasp of how to build apps for the last few generation of iOS and iPad OS. As for an Android developer, they must possess the following skill: in depth knowledge of Kotlin and Java programming language, proven experience using Android Studio, the IDE of Android apps, ability to develop an app that supports many different Android versions, device, and screen size. Backend developer. The backend developer manages a server working, cloud storage, and operational logic. A backend developer is responsible for storing data, securing it, and displaying it to the right user, managing payment system that can access and securely store data to enable users in app make purchase, using application programming interface or APIs across device, building the operating logic across device, building frameworks and the app architecture, and working with database integrated development environments and collaborating service. To manage all these tasks, a highly qualified backend developer should have hand-on experience with programming languages like Java, .NET, Python, PHP, or Ruby, and also experience with code versioning tools like Git. A quality assurance engineer. The main task of quality assurance engineer is monitoring every stage of mobile app development to be sure the design and software adhere to all requirements. The role of a staff QA engineer in app development can't be underestimated. Revealing apps, flaws, and bugs on the time helps you meet the project release deadlines and stick to the budget. Let's give a rundown of the engineers general duties. Platform automated and manual testing, record test progress and document test case. Track bugs throughout testing. Identify potential challenges user might face. Develop strict testing standards to define app quality and releasing readiness. What skill expect for teamwork should a highly qualified QA specialist possess? Strong experience using QA testing tool like Test Complete, Robotium, and Selenium. Knowledge of feature and bugs tracking system like Jira. Now let's summarize. The app development process isn't just about coding and design. Turning your idea into an app requires a lot of skills, time, and money at the very beginning, and the tech supports during the whole lifetime of the app. Thank you for